about doing barbecue competitions is it's fun to cook. It's a lot like having a tailgate party, but night before, like tonight, make sure you mind your P's and Q's, get to bed at a decent time, because 5:30 in the morning rolls around awful early. After all turning in and said done tomorrow, then hopefully we'll have something to celebrate. I'd have to say I have a 30% chance of doing really well. There's a lot of good cooks. There's over 300 teams. Several of those cooks, like Johnny Trigg, Ernest Cervantes, Maris Joseph, Fred Robles, they've all are very accomplished cooks, and guys like that are hard to beat. I've learned some from all those guys, so hopefully I'll take what I've learned from those guys and maybe win something. You know, when I first got married and I bought my first Weber kettle. Still have a Weber kettle to this day. It's the best pit money can buy for the pound to pound. So I always cooked. Had no idea how to really barbecue. I did what's called grilling. First time I actually tried to do pork ribs, didn't turn out very good at all. I tried to cook them over a hot grill like you'd be cooking a steak. That was a miserable fail. Never tried that again for several years. Then actually the show Barbecue Pitmasters came on. That really got me intrigued into getting into the barbecue world. And so I just started practicing, looking at stuff on the internet, and books, and been to several schools to learn a lot of the tricks of the trade. Techniques is what I really like to take away from a class. You know, the different spices and rub. As long as you have your main flavor profiles and your techniques are good, you're gonna have a good brisket and have a chance to win. I've been fortunate enough to get me a couple first place briskets. Hopefully we're looking at one here. You know, I want to win, to be one of those guys that, you know, whenever they pull up, oh man, Crawford's barbecue's here. They're you know, that some competition just showed up. You know, as opposed to who's Crawford's barbecue. You know, this AP, you'll notice I put on everything, because it is a very good base rub, has a lot of salt in it. Salt will penetrate the meat better than any other spice, so I always put it on first. Second rub is real peppery. My final rub is a sweet, gives it some good color too. I'm just gonna let that set until it's sweated out really nice, and then I'm going to put it back in my box, get ready for the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning always rolls around early, getting the fire going, getting that brisket on. Got some good smoke on it for about 2.5 hours before I wrapped it. Timing is crucial in the competition, because you want your product to be done, but you don't want it to be done too long ahead of time, because then it's just sitting there getting cold. A contest like this is going to be at least an hour. I don't care who you are, that chicken's not going to be real warm, but when it gets to the final table, which hopefully mine makes it to the final table. But that being said, don't want to get done any sooner than possible or necessary. They sure look pretty. Prep table. I got a toolbox up here. I keep a lot of supplies in. My Cambros I keep in here. My iron ricks and water cooker. It has a firebox down at the very bottom. You can slide the wood from one side to the other however you need, and across the middle there's water. And so when you are cooking, and you can see in there that water's boiling, and as that water's boiling, it's creating a lot of steam to help keep a lot of moisture going. Shoot these ribs while I got the door open. Got my brisket in here. Got a brisket point over there for snacks later. Pay attention to your wood management, your fire management. You're not paying attention, next thing you know, your pit drops down about 200 degrees, and I don't want that. Wood pile, hand washing station. There's just water in here. Just give myself something to wash my hands. Good friend of mine, Steve Planche, gave me this amazing grace. Flagpole with the Texas flag, American flag. I have a water hydrant. I have this water tank. And just a little 12-volt water pump over there. Another storage box, handles for the little prissy men that need a handle when they get up there. My Dixie horn. That's what you're missing. You need your Dixie horn. A little secret sauce here. Makes everything come out yummy. Sauce this last one up. Put them back on. Add a little more wood. Turn my water pump back on. I got these beautiful beef ribs that we'll season up and throw on for snacks. That a primal cut of meat, if I ever seen one. Elk Creek treatment. If you notice that thickness of that rib, when we get done cooking it, it's gonna blow up. It's gonna be way bigger. It's amazing. Most of the time you don't see them like this in the grocery store. You got to go to a true butcher to get them. I got these at Bollner's. You tell them what you want, they'll go back and cut it off a side of beef just how you want it. A little food porn. Throw her on. Joshua, you ready for the kids' cue? You gonna go to your cook's meeting here in a minute? You wanna try a piece of chicken, Josh, before you go? What do you think?
We've always really done barbecue, but we didn't really do competitions till a couple years ago. My first competition was my dad's third one. I didn't place that one, but my second one I got 5th place out of 70 kids. And since then I've just been progressing.
I feel like he's progressed quite a bit, and every little technique he does, it could be anything from injecting certain things versus not, how he rubs it versus patting, different things, you know. It's just the little things like that that make the difference between a placing and not placing.
When it comes to pork chops, I basically do it myself. He taught me how to keep it nice and moist and keep it from not being dry, which definitely helps when it comes to the barbecue competitions.
Nice and juicy. It's a good start. The only way you can tell a rib's pretty much done when that bone sucks back like that. Now just wait a few minutes. Remember when I said they would blow up? Look at them, that's blowed up. What we do every year is we have a whole hog barbecue. The last several years, Jacob has done the majority of the work. One of our friends, he had us cook a whole hog for him, and Jacob did all the work on it. So he's a pretty accomplished little pit master himself. But if he can cook a whole hog, he can cook a brisket. One thing I like to do is, teach them how to cook. I just kind of learned trial and error. Barbecue is a whole nother monster as opposed to just cooking some hamburgers in your backyard on a grill. It takes a little bit, and so I would like to pass that on to my boys. That way they can make their future wives happy.
Definitely improve and help me with my future, so I won't have to take off and try to figure things out for myself. There's some statistic that I heard that so many kids nowadays don't know how to cook, so they just go to fast food places and they end up spending more money than they have to. When I was younger, it was kind of just, it's really cool, he cooks for us, and then I was just kind of getting interested in it a little. I'm like, hey, eventually I'm going to be doing this, so I started looking at him, and eventually he started teaching me, and just slowly caught on, little by little. All the time he's experimenting at home, and some of them is just and then other times you'd think he'd perfect it, and then he'd change one thing, and it'd be even better, and then sometimes he'd change one thing, and it'd just go way down, so he'd have to go back, and then it'd be back and forth, And just going to the competitions, it really varies. Enjoy it, just relaxing, and just, especially the smell, just sitting there, hanging out with your friends and family, and you're just relaxing while he's cooking.
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. Our kids will be good husbands, wonderful husbands one of these days, because it brings them together too, and they spend a lot of quality time, and I think it's a great thing for father-sons to do. It is a great experience to see the unity in our family, and nothing, in my opinion, brings the family closer than cooking all together, whether it's the kitchen or the barbecue pit. I love it. Okay, so I can totally see Brian going beyond pit masters and all that stuff. You guys will be seeing him on Cooking with the Crawfords.
A couple ways you can tell the brisket's done right. It looks like that. Pulls a little stretch, then a snap. Did something right then.
I love his cooking.
We got about 3 hours just to chill, hang out, think about what maybe we should have done better. What I could have done better was pick out a bigger chicken. I'm not sure why my chicken breast wasn't as moist as I would like to have, but it was a dang pretty chicken. It tasted pretty good. Just a little bit dry, but nothing, not crazy dry. The ribs, I was real happy with the ribs. Everybody else was real happy with the ribs. I can't think of what I'd do any different with them. The brisket, kind of fell asleep there for a few minutes. Only thing I'd have done different there, I'd have put it back on the pit after resting just to bring the temp up so it's warmer when I turn it in. But the cooking process was spot on because the brisket was banging. It was still warm out of the hot box, but I would have liked to have got it just a little bit warmer so it'd hold through the judging process a little longer, but it's good enough to hopefully do something. We'll see. Joshua's Kids Q, he did everything he could. I don't think the piece of meat they got was real good. When I first seen that piece of meat he had, it looked terrible because he injected it, cooked it just like he always does, and it kind of turned out dry. It wasn't nothing like all his other ones he cooked, but he said that they wouldn't let him pick out his own pork chop. They was handing him because he knows how to pick out a good pork chop. He knows what to look for, and what he got would not have been one he would have picked for sure. But other than that, hang out, wait for awards, hope it doesn't rain.
Say hello, Miss Crawford, BBQ.
I have a new hat. I need a little sunshine. This thing started out, it was this tall, and it just blows up. Deep goodness. Glad you weren't here a while ago because I just got done with my crying session because I didn't win anything. Like I said, I have probably a 30% chance of winning something, but whenever they only top 10 only wins, you got 307 teams. That's not necessarily good odds. So there's a lot of good teams that are just as disappointed as I am right now. But the good thing is, we're ending the night off with a good note. I got a cold beer, cigar, and he's got his pipe. His cold beer somewhere, I don't know where it's at. But we're hanging out. We're going to enjoy the rest of the evening. Go get next year.